All right, I think it's working here. I'm trying something new today. Okay, I'm trying to go live directly to Facebook because normally I use a streaming software that shoots it to every platform at one time. And I'm being told if I go directly to Facebook, I'm going to get more engagement from Facebook, which is my main hub. I mean, I have 75,000 people on here. So I'm trying to see how do I sound because I had a hard time separating the microphone from the camera. So I want to make sure that the sound good. Please just leave a comment in there and let me know. Let's see, we got about 18 people. That's pretty cool, man. So far, 22. We're climbing. So tonight we're going to talk about a couple things, right? Primarily, sounds good. Dawn, thank you. Welcome to the show. Primarily, we're going to talk about. So we got all of this actual legitimate criminal stuff going on in with the FBI and Twitter and them violating people's privacy by taking their user data that necessarily isn't private and without a warrant making Facebook fork it over to them. And then on top of that, the FBI is demanding Facebook is cherry picking tweets, particularly those that have to do with election questioning. They're taking those down, which is a major problem. Um, Michelle, sounds good in Texas. Great. I think I finally got it figured out. It only took me about a half an hour because I never do it this way. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to talk about this because I've been kind of waiting for anybody in the media, just anybody other than Fox News. It benefits Fox News. We know that it does. They're going to talk about it. They're going to frickin' go after it hardcore. They're not going to let it die, but they're the only ones. Nobody else is touching this Twitter scandal. This is the biggest massive scandal in of the century for sure. Political scandal of the century without a doubt, if not the millennium. I mean, this is bigger. This is just as big as Richard Nixon, even if not bigger, because this is the federal government going after individuals. That is a textbook violation of the First Amendment. But I wanted to talk about what the January 6th committee came out with, and now this is all over the headlines, right? This is all over the headline. The January 6th committee has referred this case with Trump to the DNs to the Department of Homeland Security. Now, this is not. I want to make this clear. The January 6th committee is packed with people who don't like Trump. It's set up that way. That's how they do it. So they're going after him. He knows he's running for president. He's behind in the polls, but he was in 2016. And in 2016, the establishment hated the guy. Even Marco Rubio, Jeb Bush, they all hated it. They all tried to stop him from winning the primary because they didn't want the establishment to get in trouble. This is all out there. They've all said this on record. So the January 6th committee is recommending criminal charges for Donald Trump on January 6th, which of course, I mean, there is zero evidence to suggest that he had anything to do with January 6th. I mean, his last two tweets, let's look at Donald Trump's last two tweets. Let's go to Twitter and let's look at them. In the midst of all of this crap, his last two tweets are calling for everybody to stop being violent. I think I can bring this on screen here. I'm going to give it a shot. Hopefully I don't ruin everything. Let's see here. Guys, don't forget to like this video and share this video. I appreciate all of your support. It's amazing. I'm grateful for every one of you. Sharing is the best way you can contribute and liking it. Can I even share a screen on here, Facebook? I don't know if I can. I don't think I can. That's my terrible Pacino. Nope, doesn't look like I can. So we'll just look at it on. Let's go back to January 6th. He tweeted a lot on January 6th. So let's go to the first one. If Vice President Mike Pence comes through for us, we will win the presidency. Many states want to decertify the mistake they made in certifying incorrect and even fraudulent numbers in a process not approved by their state legislator, which it must be. Mike can send it back. And then it has all these warnings. This claim about election fraud is disputed. All right. And then he's going after Chuck Todd, is so happy, the fake voter tabulation process. He's going on about fake fraudulent vote. And disclaimer for Facebook, I am not saying that the election was fraudulent because that would be a violation of your community standards. And I am a strict line walker with your community standards, and I appreciate everything you do for me. So, the Republican Party, and more importantly, our country, needs the presidency more than ever before. The power of the veto stays strong. They just happened to find 50,000 ballots in last night. This was true that they said. So this tweet, they just happened to find 50,000 ballots last night. The USA embarrassed by fools. So originally when he said this, they immediately flagged it as misinformation, false information. Turned out later it was true. The states want to redo their votes. Even Mexico has voter ID. These scoundrels are only toying with Senator David Perdue, a great guy. Vote. Just didn't want to announce quite yet. They got as many ballots as are necessary, and then he calls it a rigged election. And then, all right, so he's tweeting this, and chaos is happening down at the Capitol. This is before the chaos is happening. So I'm going to tell you this, right? Let me get all fixed up for this one, like my legalized freedom hat. Yeah, America. So I'm going to have a sip before I say this, because I don't want anything to get thrown at me from you people. Chaos was about to happen at the Capitol. You can say it was a setup. That's fine. You can say that they were accepted in with open arms. Some of them were. However, there was a lot of people breaking windows, kicking down doors, pushing police officers, and acting outside of the bounds of our conduct as conservatives. So, I'm interested to see how many viewers I lost with that statement. But it's true. So you got to admit when your baby's ugly. Nobody ever wants to talk about how ugly their kid is, right? But in this situation, our baby's ugly. And we need to recognize that so that we can improve and move forward, because this is all they talk about. This is all they talk about. And they're trying to use this to somehow connect Trump to it and get criminal charges against Trump when he didn't organize that. He didn't do any of that. I don't even think, this is my opinion, I do not think they went there with that intention. I think they went there to protest. And then I think there's something in psychology called mob rule. And this guy's doing this and getting away with it, so I'm going to one up it over here, and then it just gets out of hand. That's mob rule. I mean, Google it. It's a sociological anomaly with groups of people when it pertains to violence. So mob rule kind of took over, and I think a lot of them did things they should not have done, right? Let's go. So now it's January 6th, and things are starting to go bad at the Capitol. Donald Trump tweets, "Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful." Then he says, "I am asking everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you." Then he comes out, he posts a video of him speaking. Then he tweets, "The 75 million great American patriots who voted for me, America first and America great again. We will have a giant voice long into the future. They will not be disrespected or treated unfairly in any way, shape, or form." And then on January 8th, He says that this was on January 8th, the 75 million. Then on January 8th, he says, to all those who've asked, I will not be going to the inauguration on January 20th. So they're trying to somehow link this, I guess you could call it a riot. I would say it was a riot. And, you know, people in this country riot all the time. I mean, look at Black Lives Matter, right? Look at their peaceful protest. Had they done this, it would have been a peaceful protest, like every other protest that they've done. Anybody ever see the video of the dude from CNN standing? Yeah, this protest is mostly peaceful, and there's buildings literally on fire behind them. This is just biased news. That's all this is. The only person that was killed was Ashley Babbitt. Right, she was shot by a Capitol Police officer after she was jumping through a barricade to get in. I have not analyzed that situation here. I'm not going to analyze that situation here. However, that was the only person killed. So now, during all of the reporting, they're reporting that these people are beating a police officer to death with a fire extinguisher. Just, you know, they're, no pun here, they're capitalizing on it, the left-wing media. And they're going to use this to bring Trump down. So even during this, Alex Jones is there. Alex Jones is psychotic. And there's a video of Alex Jones standing on the roof of a car on a bullhorn saying, everybody stop what you're doing. You're getting out of control, and this is going to be the story. When Alex Jones tells you you're getting out of hand, you need to take a deep look within yourself. All right. Looks like we got some comments here. Sounds good in Texas. Bogus claims against Trump. Tommy, totally agree, dude. It's just an excuse because they're terrified that he's actually going to win again. Nancy, and those are facts. Any state that doesn't want voter ID, they want to cheat. You know, or they want to allow the opportunity for cheating. I definitely agree with that, Nancy. Clarence, Trump did more than Obama to Biden never did. Said he might have done a better job if the stupid Democrats could have let him do his job. Yeah, I agree with that. Listen, you know, Donald Trump didn't have a chance in hell to get anything done. This is a guy that did not. This is a guy that did not like the establishment, and the establishment did not like him. This was a mutual agreement. Let me see here. We didn't need to riot because they were rejecting the ballots. We were happy, then a riot. So, yeah, I mean, I guess you guys are kind of going back and forth in the comments, and that's okay. But, yeah, they had a permit to be there. But that doesn't mean that they planned to attack the Capitol. You got to remember, they didn't even know while they planned to meet there and protest. They didn't analyze what was going to happen. They didn't think it was going to get that out. They didn't even plan to go to the Capitol originally. It was Donald Trump that told them to go to the Capitol, but he didn't tell them to go and invade the Capitol and smash windows and do all of that. He said just go down there and make your voice heard. But they're desperately trying to find a link between Donald Trump and the insurrection. I mean, it's on the cover of every freaking newspaper that they're recommending. Well, they're not recommending, they're referring. So there's a total difference. So they're referring it to the Department of Homeland Security because they're saying, we think we may have charges here. We want you to look at it. We're referring it to you. And they're going to come back and they're going to say you don't. I mean, that's what's going to happen. They're not going to file freaking charges on Donald Trump. I do not see that. I do not anticipate that. There is nothing that he did that has been brought to surface that has been grossly negligent. None of it. None of it has. It is not there. It's not there. He's actively, and then this is why they suspended him from Twitter. Meanwhile, his last couple of tweets are, stay peaceful. We're the party of law and order. Basically, what are you doing? Knock it off. Now, he gets criticized because he didn't go back and condemn them and say you shouldn't have done that, blah, blah, blah. Should he? I mean, yeah, I do it all the time, but I'm not running for president either. These are his voters. So I don't know. I don't see the left denouncing BLM and their riots and all that stuff either. So it's a two-way street. He told them to raise up their voices, not their fists. Yeah. He said, go down there, uh, you know, fight like hell. I think he used those words, but not physically fight. It's allegorical. I don't know. It's just mind blowing to see all of the government's resources, all of the government's power, all of their energy, all of their time dedicated to try to bring down somebody who clearly didn't do anything. But then again, look at Kyle Rittenhouse. Look at Kyle Rittenhouse. I mean, that poor guy didn't do nothing. He shouldn't have been there. Yeah, but he was there, and he was there legally. I agree. He shouldn't have been there. If he was my son, he wouldn't have been there. I wouldn't have let him go there. I'd be like, you out of your mind? You're going to go down there with a rifle? Nah, bro, I don't think so. I don't think so. Stay your ass home. That's how I would have handled it. But unfortunately, he was there. And it was legal for him to be there with a rifle, which he used to defend himself. That's him being there is not the root cause of what occurred with Kyle Rittenhouse. It was the mob mentality that was the cause of what Kyle Rittenhouse had to do to protect himself. The poor kid's going to be shattered for life. Boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. So, January 6th committee sends DOJ historic. This is from CNBC. I would share the screen, but I can't. Again, for those of you just tuning in, I'm streaming directly to Facebook because I'm trying to see if the algorithm will pick up better. And I don't think that it is, just from my opinion and my experience. Let me go back to this is CNBC. I can't share the screen. I'm sure there's a way, but it took me about 30 minutes to even get on here, so I'm not even going to mess with it and end the live stream accidentally. CNBC, January 6th committee sends DOJ historic criminal referral of Trump over Capitol riot. This is on the cover of every newspaper, every left-wing newspaper in the country. New York Times today, every article on the front page was January 6th. I mean, one person died, and they were on the rioters' side. Everything else was fine, right? Should it have happened? No. Did the people that attacked and did things, did they get arrested and go to jail? Yes. Did some innocent people that really weren't that involved in it get arrested and go to jail? Yes. So there's that on both sides. Some of the people who were completely acting out of control went to jail, and then people who weren't necessarily acting out of control went to jail anyway. It was fine when BLM was attacking everybody's homes and everybody's cities. They didn't care. But the second you attack D.C., where they go to work every day, now all of a sudden it's the freaking end of the world. So I'm going to read just pieces of this. The January 6th Select House Committee, in a unanimous vote Monday, referred former President Donald Trump to the Department of Justice for criminal investigation and potential prosecution for his efforts to overturn his loss in the 2020 election. What efforts? What efforts? There were no efforts that Donald Trump made to try to overturn the 2020 election. He did not send a mob of people in there to go hurt people. That's what they're telling everybody. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. Is Donald Trump a perfect human being? Absolutely freaking not. And for you guys that watch my show, you know I constantly criticize him. I constantly criticize every politician. That's what you're supposed to do if you're fair and if you're biased. Even if you're fair and unbiased. If a broken clock is right twice a day. So you got to take certain things into account. The committee's historic referral says there is sufficient evidence to refer Trump for 4 crimes: obstructing an official proceeding, conspiracy to defraud the government, making knowingly and willingly material false statements to the federal government, and inciting or assisting an insurrection. Good luck. We propose to the committee advancing referrals where the gravity of the specific offense, the severity of its actual harm, and the centrality of the offender to overall design of the unlawful scheme to overthrow the election compel us to speak. God, it's freaking exhausting. Let's see here. Brad. It's bullshit. Nothing will happen except the left is tarnishing his name. Dude, that's all this is about, right? If he had gone let me tell you this. If Trump had gone 2 terms and the same thing happened at the Capitol, but it wasn't the election, it was something else, and they wouldn't go after him like this. They wouldn't waste their time. He couldn't run for president again. They're specifically spending all this time, all this money, all this effort because they don't want him to run for president again on both sides of the aisle. So you gotta go back to 2016, and you have to see the inner turmoil of the Republican Party when Donald Trump actually started gaining ground, and he was the front leader. I mean, Jeb Bush, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, they all got together and started bashing him to everybody. I mean, that never really happens. You don't have a political party coming together and uniting to shut down the person who's about to become the primary. But they all did because he wasn't part of the establishment. They were saying he's going to ruin the Republican Party. He's going to ruin the country. He's bad. He's a businessman. He doesn't know what he's doing. It was the establishment was threatened by him. And, he did very unpopular things to the establishment. One of which was he didn't use our intelligence agencies. He preferred to get his intelligence from privately funded intelligence agencies. So the only business the CIA and the NSA have are through the executive branch. So now all their funding is gone, right? Not all of it. I mean, he's used them for certain things, but it wasn't like a normal presidency. Like, hey, Joe Biden's in there now. Guess what? He's full ripping, signing checks to the CIA and NSA. So the establishment did not like him. The establishment was not fond of Donald J. Trump. So let me see. Let me scroll down. Carissa, they are scared of Trump. Yes, they are. They are 100% scared of Donald Trump. They are terrified. Everybody is. Everybody's terrified of Donald Trump. I mean, he did good things for the country. I'm going to tell you, when he ran, I was not a huge favorite. I'm from New York, born and raised in New York. I knew the Trump name before I could frickin' walk. Fred Trump in Brooklyn, where my whole family's from in Brooklyn. Fred Trump is a big name. And Donald, my whole life growing up, he built in this and built in that, bought the Plaza Hotel. I'd go to Central Park. I always knew the name. I always knew he was always in the headlines, always in the news, always ever. So I knew who the guy was. But once he got in there and we started seeing the results when he took his business perspective to politics, and all of a sudden the gas prices are the lowest like they've ever been. The economy's booming. The stock market is freaking going through the roof because he's passing policies and signing legislature that's good for the economy, that's not good for special interest. So that was another thing I liked about Donald Trump. Is I just did a video about the NFT cards, the cards that he did, and I criticized him there. But the thing I like about Donald Trump is that he doesn't use special interest groups. He doesn't get funding from special interest groups. Donald Trump gets funding from the people, from his supporters, from donors. They provide him with his campaign money, and I'm sure a couple million from himself. But the thing is, and what that means is that when he gets in office, he's not beholden to a special interest group. He's only beholden to his beliefs and what the people want. He won't play their politically corrupt games. I mean, he won't while he's the president, but he's been doing it his entire life to get business deals done. I mean, and he's made that fundamentally clear, that he's done that to get business deals done. Let me see here. Ours is not a system of justice where foot soldiers go to jail and the masterminds and ringleaders get a free pass. So they're talking about the people that went into the Capitol, that got arrested, right? Like you got the Oath Keepers and a couple other people. However, Donald Trump is not the mastermind of this. It's such a stretch. It's laughable. What was he going to do if they went in there? I mean, that's a question I have. It's a serious question. If I was in front of this committee, okay, so this is what you think he did. You think he masterminded this invasion of the U.S. Capitol, right? Okay, so they get in there, they stop the vote, they hurt some Congress people, then what happens? Then what happens? I mean, does he just becomes president again? No. No. You think he just walks back in the Oval Office and takes it over and nobody's going to stop that? Like the Secret Service, just going to be like, yeah, dude, come on in, man. You're good. Yeah, you're good. You just overthrew the government. Yeah, you're good. Don't worry about it. Come in this building. And then what? Like, what happens? How do you get any laws passed without Congress after you just sent all these? Like, it's such a stretch. But to the normal person, it's triggers. It triggers them. Oh, he's a Nazi. Oh, he's a Nazi. He tried to overthrow the government and get as much power as he possibly could. Oh, it just doesn't make any sense. It never has made any sense, and it never will make any sense. I just wanted to come on and share that with you guys tonight, just how ludicrous that is, that Donald Trump is being referred for criminal charges while the FBI is caught doing actual criminal activity, and it's exposed and nobody will even get a news story on it. It just doesn't make sense. It makes sense if you understand what's really going on. Guys, I'm Ryan Samuels. This is the Ryan Samuels Show. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure that you hit the like button. Share this post, please. Subscribe, 99 cents a month on Facebook. If you're watching the live video right now, down in the comments, swipe it over. You can subscribe for less than $1 a month and get special videos of me and my family. Sometimes you'll see me yelling at my wife while she's backing up a car or a trailer. It's funny. She doesn't think so, but I think that it is. So thank you guys for tuning in.